Hi, we've never met before. My name is Rachel, and I like to talk about holistic health, intimacy, overcoming suffering, becoming your happiest and highest self, all the things. Intimacy, did I say that? Codependency, trauma. And today I want to give a little bit of a hot take. However, I speak from my personal experience because I've gone through so much and I've integrated so much and I've completely transformed and changed. So, what has helped me, I know is going to help other people, and that's my goal. I just know it. My path and journey has helped me change and evolve and grow, and it's also been to help other people and have more compassion and empathy and give other people tools for their toolkit. So today I want to talk about something that's maybe a little spicy. However, again, it's my experience. So I want to talk about why I think it happened that way, and it's not bad. It's just more information, and I really like having choices. I like that people have varied experiences. I love to hear other people's experiences. So that's why I want to share my story today. And it's incredibly healing for me. As much as this information can hopefully help other people, it's really cool to be completely liberated and free in myself to speak my truth, because I didn't speak my truth for a long time. So here we go. I found that talk therapy did not really help me in the way that it's helped other people. So, context, which I love to give and I need to give. I probably always had anxiety growing up. I wasn't really ever diagnosed. When I was 16, my parents separated and then eventually divorced. But during that time, I didn't want to process and talk about this with anyone. I repressed it. And my mom eventually was like, "Why don't you go to therapy?" And I think she paid for a couple sessions or something. And I saw one therapist once or twice. And then I saw, I'm pretty sure, the one that my parents had gone to maybe once also. But my experience with that was, like I said, I just didn't want to talk to them. Like, I was not at a place where I could speak my truth and how I truly felt. Like, I can talk about how I feel now and talk about a lot of things, but at that point, I was just like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, this isn't effective. I went, but I didn't really get anywhere. So, now from what I know about the brain, a couple things. Where language is, this is why we differ from other mammals, because the newer part of our brain that's evolved has this language component. Like, other animals communicate, right? And we communicate with body language and in other ways. But what I would argue and what I say and have found in my journey is that talk therapy doesn't change the body all the time, because it's in the mind part of the brain, it's in the thinking part of the brain. And I have a lot of thoughts. We all have a lot of thoughts. So, therapists have studied how the brain thinks. And yes, you can learn effective tools and strategies of how to rethink and reframe situations and scenarios. That's what I think it's really good at. And we also have an emotional part of the brain, right, which goes deeper. It's an older part of an older part of the brain. And when some of us have been stuck in trauma for a long time and have gone through a lot of things, that part of the brain, the subconscious, is ruling our cells on a daily basis. So yes, our thoughts affect our body and our body affects our thoughts. It's like a two-way street. But from my, again, journey and experience, I had certain situations and scenarios growing up where, when my brain was forming from 0 to 7, because it's basically a sponge, it's making sense of the world, and then those patterns are not stuck, but those patterns are formed for the rest of your life, and it's kind of like a track that your brain runs on. A lot of those were a lot of anxiety and fear. So I can't So my nervous system was wired for that fear and anxiety. So yes, I can start to think more positive and happy thoughts, but unless you really get deeper into the body and say, well, why is your body reacting in that way? And can we fix the vagus nerve? And can we retrain the nervous system? And can we retrain the brain so it doesn't have that stress response again? That's where my money was made, meaning where my transformation occurred and I actually became happier and healthier. So I don't want to, like, again, therapy can be good for understanding your thoughts, but it's a really big focus on the mental body. And the mental body has been a huge part of my experience to become more aware of my thoughts and why I have those thoughts that I do. And then I also went deeper into the emotional body and the physical body. If you've ever heard, there's a saying called the issues are in the tissues. So again, if there have been toxic thought patterns and toxins and emotions and things that have been trapped in your body for a long time, your cells are holding on to all of that cellular memory, all of that stuff that you haven't processed or integrated. If there was too much happening at one time for your body to be like, okay, we're going to release this, we're going to let go of it, we're going to integrate it, then your brain is smart enough to say, okay, I'm going to go put that anxiety like in the stomach for right now because I can't deal with it. Or I'm going to go put that grief in the lungs. I'm going to go put that fear in the bladder. I'm going to put those toxins in fat cells because I don't have the capacity to break it down and detox it right now. Like, this is to the level and extent that our brain is doing. It has so many jobs on a daily basis that we're not even aware of. So we're aware of our conscious thoughts, which are, again, super duper important. And then our brain is doing like a million, billion, trillion other different things at the same time as we have those conscious thoughts. So again, that's why I just think my body had gotten so stressed. It was in a stress response for a really long time. So just talking about those problems and that problem that came up that really started all this healing for me, it just didn't give me the relief that I really needed and wanted because I had to go deeper. Because, that stuff, again, not that specific experience had been happening for years, but other things had been happening for years, and I was reacting to certain things in a certain way for a very long time. So yeah, then I had like anxiety and depression. So what I was told, or what was, oh, this is what you do. You go take a pill and then you go talk to a therapist. Like, I knew that wasn't going to work for me because at that point I had been looking at holistic stuff and alternative methods, and I just knew it wasn't going to help me. And that's when I found depression is a symptom of chronic inflammation and changing my diet. And then I got into the spiritual part, and then I got into the trauma, and then I got into the daddy issues and the subconscious and the trauma and trusting men and feeling safe in my body, etc., etc., etc. Like, I always see the visual of I started to pull on a thread, and then because I thought that thread would like break and I would be done with that thread, but that thread was just something I kept pulling and pulling and pulling. Like, I had so many layers that showed their way to me, and going on that path was the way to move from where I was to where I am now, just walking that path, every single threaded part of that journey. I will also say that I have heard a couple experiences of people like, oh yeah, my therapist, it just kind of feels like my friend, and like they're not really doing therapy work in sessions anymore, which I'm gonna say doesn't happen all the time. But I've also heard other horror stories of someone was like, I went to therapy and then the therapist started to tell me about their problems, and I'm like, great. So there's a system that we're told it'll fix us, and okay, and then it totally doesn't. And then the system's actually wanting help from me. Again, not every single experience. My mom has been going to a therapist now for the last, I don't know how many years, and she's helped her a lot. But all that information my mom sent me, like, my mom's a helper very much like me, like a healer, wants to make the world a better place, fix it. Everything she sent me was about like, change your thoughts. And I'm like, I have changed my thoughts, but if I only tried to transform my life just looking at my thought, like, I'm an overthinker already. Like, I can't overthink everything. That's why when I did like the vagus nerve work and like detoxing from toxins and chemicals, like I started to have less anxiety because I did those kind of root cause things, right? And the QNRT therapy that I found, which I'll make a video on eventually, like that rewired my subconscious and my brain without needing to talk. Like that's what I want to do, and that's what resonates for me. You know, like I only share my story because it's going to resonate with certain people, and they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, tell me more." Like I totally understand. We're all at different levels of consciousness and awareness and different soul ages, and we're all going to learn different lessons, which is totally fine. I'm a very, very ancient and old soul. Like I've been around so many blocks so many times, which is why I also know that I was ready as a soul to go deeper into this shadow work and just deeper than just talking about my feelings and taking a pill, right? That's why I found homeopathy. That's why I did like the detoxing I did. It's why I healed my gut. It's why I looked into diet. It's why I have done twin flame work, you know. It's why I dove into sexual trauma. It's why, it's like, again, pulling on that little thread has just led me on this path. So that's another, you know, again, my experience. I just know that I need to share this because if I would have seen this at my journey, I would have been like, oh my gosh, like I know someone else can resonate with my journey, because I know that's not what was going to help me. You know, finding spirituality and astrology and understanding why my soul is here, and you know, other spiritual readings where the words have come in recently where it's like, it's not a tainted human helmet and human like humans love to solve problems, so we create a lot of problems for us to solve. So what I found is like spirituality is like, no, as my soul and something bigger than me, not just my human existence and what other humans condition and tell me what to believe and mindsets and stuff, like that has been what has helped me actually find myself and become happier and healthier in this human body suit. So let me know your thoughts down below. Again, I'd love to hear examples and stories of how therapy has truly changed your life, or if you have other horror stories where therapists started to put their stuff onto you. I'd love to hear about that. There are obviously other kinds of therapies, and you know, I don't know. That's why I just like to share all the modalities that have helped me too, because there are so many things to help us integrate and become truly happy and healthy, which is why I share the messages that I do, and why I want to connect with other people who are doing the same and who are on that journey. So thank you so much. I hope I see you around soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.